And he played e5, which is a great move. It slows down my attack. And at this point, I'm thinking, haven't got my pawn back yet, and I'm not feeling terribly optimistic about my endgame chances. I tend to be a better endgame player than other players my rating, but I don't like going into an endgame a pawn down. He can just be slow and squeeze. I played queen back to d2, again keeping the pressure on this pawn. And he played what I think is a terrible move here. He played queen f6. I'm not sure. I can't even see what his plan might be. Obviously, this diagonal's cut off here. This diagonal is no good to him because of my knight. Coming in down through here is just complete garbage. He's just messing up his pawns in the trade. It's definitely a trade I would want to take. I think this is a terrible move. It allows me to play queen h6. At this point, he's got a few options, the best of which he plays, and that's queen to g7. So, and my best definitely is queen takes, and rook takes d6. So now I've made my pawn back, and I still have the initiative. I still have a lead in development, and this pawn on e5 isn't looking too great for him, and I should be able to mount an attack on that relatively quickly if I want. At this point, I'm feeling very good about my chances here. These are the kind of games that I can win against players of my rating, but they're very tactically sharp, which is why I switched to d4, because I just tend to be a positional player. So he plays out bishop g4, and I play forward. With knight g5. I like this move. It's aggressive. I'm putting pressure here. I was considering, bishop takes, rook takes. Here, let's show it as if it was my move. Here, I'll just make a random pawn move to show you. Bishop takes, rook takes, knight takes, king takes, and taking off one of his rooks. And then I would try and pile up on this pawn here. I'd play moves like maybe g3 and f4 and things like that. I considered that, and I realized at that point that I wasn't too sure I liked not having any of my minor pieces. I'm very good with my knights and my bishops, and I like to keep them around. People can very easily see how rooks attack, but it's very sneaky to see sometimes a knight or a bishop sneaking through a position. Again, since I'm playing the smith-morra Gambit, I'm playing to trick my opponent into making mistakes. And it's sad to say I'm not necessarily trying to play the best chess so much as I'm trying to play a psychological game with my opponent. And at this level, at the 1400 level, a lot of your chess is going to be that way, and it's okay. And to be honest, it's fun. So if that's something you enjoy doing, then just by all means play tactically sharp and very fun and wild positions. It'll make you a better chess player. You'll see more tactics in the long run. And when your positional skill can match the tactics that you're playing at, then you'll be very, very good. So he plays f6, which is a horrible move, I think. Well, it's not terrible, but it allows me to bring my knight into the game here to fork his king and his rook. Now, this fork isn't going to win me material because, of course, he has bishop takes e6 and bishop takes e6. I could have played rook takes e6 as well. They're equally good. I like the bishop move because I want my bishop to be able to come back through into the king side here. And at this point, I have some ideas about checking him, my rook on d7 after I take this bishop, and forcing him on this side. And that way, my bishop is free to come back in and join the attack on this side, as you'll see later. So I play bishop takes, and he plays knight d4, which is a great, great square for his knight. But I don't think this is the right time to play that move. At this point, I think he should have traded rooks, maybe play rook a to d8 or something, and hoping to trade rooks on this open file, and then claim the file himself. Notice if I was to take and he was to take, I don't have the option of bringing my rook out here to challenge this file because he takes and it's mate. And all of you saw that, I'm sure, and no one even considered that. But do you see how if I take here, he has control of that file, and I can't get control of it back? I'd have to play something very passive, like bishop back here, before I could ever get my rook on this file. And then we still trade, and I end up with just a bishop sitting back here. It's very boring. This is not a very good position, and I can do much better. So he plays the strong knight move, which ends up being a poor move in retrospect. And at this point, I mount my attack, and I start seeing some mate options over here as I calculate. And I knew that I wasn't sure completely that all the tactics were going to work out. I knew that I wasn't going to be down at the end of all the exchanges, and at the end of all the checks. and I went for it. Again, at this level, I'm playing at 1400. I'm about 1400, 1450 or so. He's not going to make all the perfect moves all the time, and we played a short game. This is a 25-minute game or something, so he's not going to have the time to calculate completely and make perfect moves all the way through. And this is why I play the smith-morra. It's a lot of fun because there's going to be a lot of tactics and a lot of things are up in the air, and you have to play aggressive and wild, and any slip from your opponent and you can pounce. And the smith-morra has a lot of options like that. And as you can see, the game that it led me to here. So I played rook check. His two options are king to h8 and king to h6. He definitely can't play, rook here because I can just take, rook because my bishop is here. Check, and I just want a rook for nothing. So I expected him to play rook or king to h6 because king to h8 here looks very, very weak, very passive. First king to be all the way back here in the corner, and I would have a strong attack. I could keep attacking at this point, or I can play moves just locking down the position a little bit better, like bishop to d5. And here black has no options. His king is just locked down. There's nothing he can do. Trading isn't going to help him at this point. And so, like here, he tries to trade. I just take a pawn. I'm just going to start, gobbling up. Eventually, I'm bringing my rook out and doubling my rooks here. Black is bad. Black is very bad here. So he saw that, and he played king to h6, which leads to the other tactics that I was working out. I liked king h8. For me, it was going to work out after bishop d5 and rook to c1. I also really liked king h6. I was hoping he played it because I saw some moves that I thought would be fun. So he does. He plays king to h6, and I play rook h3. This is a dubious move. I was sacrificing my bishop here. You notice it's just hanging, and he can just play knight takes e6. And this is what I was hoping to get, was a king to h3, and he has to play king g5 here. At which point I can take this pawn. And if he doesn't play f5 here, then white will definitely come back to having the lead. Let's say that he wasn't prepared, he didn't understand what was happening here, and maybe tried rook to h8. I can play rook takes, rook takes, rook takes. I'm up at rook.